Kia ora, g'day, welcome back once again. Here we're been a little while actually. Part 2 of my reaction to the Royal Green Jackets. So yeah, if you're here for this, let's jump back in.
Oh, there's like 2 men back there. Okay, these 2 here.
That's right. I think from memory this was in regards to a training exercise where I think a group of people have infiltrated the country. The officer, from memory, I think was the guy that was placing the enemy people out, and then he's also on the side of the friendly forces looking to, I think, get rid of this enemy party, and they were briefing him back on where I believe they thought the enemy was and how best to approach the position to take out the enemy, I guess. I think from memory anyway. It's been probably a couple of weeks or a few days at least anyway since I did a reaction to this one. So let's see how it goes. I might be way off the mark.
I like an exercise now and then, you know what I mean? And it's good, you have a good laugh if you get in with the right blokes and you get the right sort of people leading you. You get the right sort of exercise, you have a really good laugh.
Hello 1-1, this is 1-1 Lima. We have just taken the position. We're checking it through now. I hope to call for Hawkeye to come and pick us up in about 5 to 10 minutes. Over. Right, I'll just bring out a few points as a debrief on that. We went through with the assault, and that was quite good. A lot of dashing around, aggression, and that was good. However, individual fire positions are bad. And when you take a fire position, you must get down, get into cover, and then get the weapon up with the aim and take a shot. Okay, there was some terrible weapon handling, and the positions people were holding their weapons when they were firing were very, very bad.
I love responsibility. I like to make decisions. And with the training one has at Sandhurst and from just general experience and various courses one goes on, you build up confidence in yourself and an ability to lead. And although my riflemen are the same age as me, and we're all young, we all like sort of getting up to the things that young people do, I have still got to remember that ultimately I'm the one that's going to make the decisions, and that they will respect me.
He's young.
Wow, what a very confident young man at 22. Just the way he speaks as well. Very articulate. I still smile when I hear officers and stuff in general speak, but I think mostly from the British area. Not because I think they're bad soldiers, but just it's just different, eh? I think there's a person that put in a comment, rightly so too. I can't remember the exact words, but it was something along the lines of just because somebody speaks a certain way or doesn't mean that they're not fierce, essentially that they're not fierce warriors or that they can't be fierce warriors in battle and that sort of thing. And I agree 100%. So I acknowledged the person who took the time to put those comments and stuff in here. I'm not sure, maybe I came across as being quite arrogant and rude when I was laughing at or making my comments about it, but it wasn't meant to be. It's just in and around. Yeah, I've never, even the officers that I had here in NZ and or in Australia, I didn't have any officers or leaders that spoke that way. And so when I hear it, and maybe it's the accent, maybe it's their upbringing, maybe it's whatever it is, it just makes me smile because it just sounds real. It sounds, I don't know if pompous is the right term, but that's how it comes across to me. But yeah, 100% clearly they can be absolute warriors in battle. And whoever the person was, I can't remember, made some cool comments about, I think, couple of leaders or a leader or two that they had who may have spoken that way, but were absolute, fierce warriors on the battlefront. So listening to this second lieutenant, I think it was second lieutenant, speak about his take on his role as leadership in leading and giving the feedback, the debrief. It's quite interesting. And then I think he was demonstrating one of the firing positions that one of the soldiers that he must have observed performing, shooting from the hip like Rambo looked like. Takes a lot of, just a lot of character and courage and confidence. And he seems to have a lot of that, just the way that he speaks and carries himself, standing there and speaking to, I'm guessing, people same age, probably some a bit younger than him, maybe even some older than him. But he's right. He's the officer. He's the leader in charge, and he needs to be able to communicate what he needs, what he expects, what he wants across to them. Seems like he's doing a good job.
Like us. And he does know his stuff. He's been about. He's probably seen a bit more than we have. He's been away on courses, which you could get. But as long as they're with the lads a certain part of the way, that's the way we like them. If they're up and up snobs, like upper class yobs, like, we don't want to know.
I think that's probably the term I was looking for, the snobs or up and up, whatever it was. I think he said snobs or yobs, maybe both.
A bad rifleman is someone who is constantly complaining that conditions aren't right, the food's not right, and when you're out in the field it's too wet and his trench is too uncomfortable, which it may be, but he doesn't have to keep on telling me.
The worst officers that we get are the new ones. They've just come out of Sandhurst. They're pretty young. They've got all these super ideas about leading men into battle and all this. They give you some really stupid things to do. They take it like as though you're still in training. Well, you're not. You're all trained soldiers. You can all do a good job. And there's no need for people to really tell you to do it all the time. They've got this idea that you can't do nothing. You're thick.
And I can imagine somebody coming straight from public school into Sandhurst. The only people they've seen is a guards, colour sergeant, and a few sergeant majors. They've never seen a rifleman before. And it comes as a great shock to them. And of course, now I think the riflemen are fantastic. Excellent. Greatest thing since sliced bread.
As the flags are lowered, the evening social activities separate the regiment along its military demarcation lines. Once a week in the officers' mess, they don black ties and entertain their guests to dinner.
Have you taken it?
You offering me a double? Cheers, sir. I've got about 50 shirts from Sam. I won't have to buy another for the next 15 years.
I burned up on the Jungle Warfare course in Singapore and came back with a whole sort of trunk full of shirts.
Yes. Empty boxes going out and full boxes coming back. It's true.
Well.
To cart all goodies.
That's it. The sky, isn't it? You just take the guys off.
You did a really rather good number. Are you taking a who lot out?
No, only two of them. Robert and Kevin, yes, that's right. They can pester all the Arabs.
You hear about him trying to take the tiles off the church wall during the communion service or something.
I rather like the financial world tonight. They start to talk about softs and hards and all that sort of thing.
Is this on BBC?
Do you know what I mean? What? You know what a soft and hard? Yes, I soft as cocoa and stuff like that.
I hope they go into the ORs or non-commissioned officers mess and see what they're like. And they're just looking at this. I have to admit, I've never even thought about what the conversations are like in the officers mess or in the O Club. But looking at this, I'm not surprised. Very civilized, it seems. Dressed smartly. I think they said once a week, was it? Or whatever it was, black tie. I don't know what it's like in the Woes and Snows mess either. So the warrant officers and the sergeants, senior NCOs mess. Maybe it's similar. Maybe they're a little bit more, well, not a little bit more. Maybe they're a lot more dignified than what the baggies are here in NZ. The term used to describe the privates and ORs, that sort of thing. Corporals bar. No, they're probably pretty similar to the baggies bar from my time anyway. but it looked nothing like this. So I wonder if they'll show how the rest of the lads get on and what they're like in their area, or the Baggies bar, or the place where they have to go and socialise.
And hards are metals and ores. Dinner's ready.
Meanwhile, in another building nearby, the senior non-commissioned officers are summoned to their regimental mess night. Roughly once a month, the sergeants and warrant officers gather at their mess for a regimental dinner. It's an occasion to bring out the silver, dress up in full mess kit, and sit down to a more than average meal. Tonight, at £3 a head, there's egg mayonnaise, consommé julienne, chicken Kiev, cherry flan, and several wines, for which to give thanks.
Gentlemen, grace. For what we are about to receive, may the Lord make us truly thankful.
The dress is less formal at the Riflemen's Club.
Well, we never had anything like that during my time in the well, they called it, I think, the Rifleman's Mess. Ours is just called the Baggies Bar. There was never anything like that when I was coming through. Looking at these guys, I'm glad that they've shown from the officers, the senior NCOs or the sergeants or warrant officers and senior NCOs, down to the Rifleman's Bar, I think they called it, or Rifleman's Club, or the Baggies or the privates. Crack up. Yeah, it's pretty much sort of what I was expecting, or half what I was expecting. I wasn't expecting a stripper.
You'll get married. You'll get
Next morning, I was up before the colonel. Again. Within 2 days. I should have said, are you ready for a wee-wee? That would go down a lot better, I'm sure. Don't tear the top. Gentlemen, be upstanding.
Check out that difference, eh? From that to this.
A toast. The regiment.
The regiment. The regiment.
The morning after. The bugle call brings the regiment unwillingly back to life and tells them that, for those that can face it, a hearty breakfast is being served in the cookhouse.
For what we pay, 60 pence a day for 3 big filling meals, and you can have as much as you want. You know, I can't see anybody in Civvy Street getting the same as that.
Can't even call that. Hey Barney, you back up again last night? You get it again last night?
It's all plain food, there's nothing fancy. Because I've seen it over in our cookhouse, they put out something fancy. And I've had a go at it. And sometimes it's been pretty good, but other blokes who would rather have steak and kidney pud. It's the same in the town, they won't go for Chinese thing or pizzas. They'd rather have fish and chips.
Anyway, excuse me.
We don't do nothing really. You might get the odd few hours working, and then the rest of the time you're just waiting to do something. That's the biggest part of the time. You know, if you're in for 3 years, 2 years.
Well, look at that, eh? Just in the mess, in that time, that era, just smoking in the mess hall or chow hall or whatever they call it for theirs with regards to where they go and eat their meals. Yeah, just different, different times. Amazing. It just blows my mind. Not surprising, but it's just still pretty surreal to see that. Just spark up a cigarette in the mess where everybody else is eating. Man.
But you're waiting to do something. It's just ordinary barrack life, sitting around doing nothing. I like it.
Sorry, I got to mention something there. That's something that my wife would always say, oh, you fellas in infantry don't do anything anyway. Early knockoffs, just sit around at camp, do PT and then knock off. I remember my wife saying that to me a fair bit. She still brings it up every now and then with our boys in infantry. And then, when we're lucky enough when they come home and see us at the end of a week where they can, she'll be like, oh, they'll knock off early anyway. Like, they don't have any work to do on Friday. So her take is that we only worked when we were out in the bush. And that wasn't the case, I don't think, anyway. I think we had some times where we got some early knockoffs, which was good, but I definitely feel like they were earned over time anyway, with the amount of time that we spent out training-wise and out in the bush. So hearing this guy speak about there's just a lot of waiting around, maybe that's what it was like for them by and large, or clearly it was by listening to him speak. But no, I enjoyed infantry. Like, there were courses to do. Drill I didn't like so much, but there was always things to do with regards to our NCOs and section commanders. PT was always good, whether it was section, platoon, or company PT. And then the field exercises, those were good. I enjoyed them as much as the weather may have been miserable a lot of the time. They're character building, and you either liked it or you didn't like it. And if you didn't like it, then go find something else to do.
They've got nothing for us to do, really. Just the odd bit of training here and there. That would be a couple of hours in the morning, a couple of hours in the afternoon. So they just fit in on stupid things that we don't like doing, like assault course and running around. It's just to fill in time, because they don't like to think that you're lying about doing nothing.
I enjoyed doing our obstacle course or assault course, whatever you want to call it. Those things are good. The river runs, the mud runs, the log PT, the battle PT, that it would be called sometimes as well. Like, those are good. I mean, for me, and my thought at the time, being in an infantry unit, this is the sort of stuff that we need to be able to do. Like, as a soldier, you join up as infantry, you need to be able to get up and go at the drop of a hat, chuck your gear on, and go and run, and still be able to fight at the end of that. Now, we didn't do any shooting or whatever after where the obstacle course was for us. There's obviously shooting ranges and stuff in camp, and very on occasion there'd be things like the skillet arms, but man, getting brought in to go do some extra PT or go do the obstacle course or get better and more efficient over some of the different obstacles or some of the more challenging ones, I thought that was awesome. So yeah, hearing this fella sounds like maybe not too happy about it for whatever reason. At least he's getting up and doing it, I suppose. But really, if it's not for the individual, if that's not what you want to do as an infantryman or as a soldier, or in a combat role at least anyway, then find something else to do, bruz.
I'm like bloody old man, get over there! Oh, come on, come on! Get out of here! That's right, son! Oh, come on! Chuck it down! Take it easy, just take it easy. That's it. That's it.
Come on! One of you get in front of these beds and see if they can. Come on, Barry. One of you get across the gate as it comes down. Somebody get on now. That's it now, Jay.
The jerry can, a very underestimated piece of equipment, can do a heck of a lot with that thing, and it's it can be a miserable tool to use, and or it can be quite good in my experience anyway, especially if you've got it filled with something that you can consume, and if you're lucky enough to be able to make it a little bit lighter along the way, all the little fun and games that you can have internally with your section, with the platoon, etc., as you're going along. But it's good to see it being used. I still have jerry cans at home today and still use them for various activities, PT sessions or whatever, real basic, real simple. But yeah, it's good to see that that hasn't changed. As far as I know, jerry cans are still used in the military today. May not necessarily be on obstacle courses, but seeing this, I don't recall ever taking a jerry can over an obstacle course, or at least not over the ones that I participated in anyway. But looking at it now and looking back, I think maybe it'd be some ideas for the units these days.
Okay, right, go. Come on, the rest of you. Come on, down and up. Come on. Last man. Well done.
Here now. 6 minutes 57 seconds.
When I'm training men, we're out in the field, it's difficult to think that we are training for a war, because at the moment, apart from Northern Ireland, there is no place where we're likely to go, apart from Germany. And it is difficult to keep it in mind that one is training them to kill other men.
Bombers! Go!
This is basically an exercise in urban operations, the sort of thing one does anywhere in the world. And when you do house clearing operations, each rifleman has a specific job to do, and it gives them all a chance to practice it.
Pretty awesome, eh? I know during my time, we weren't doing any urban stuff on basic training, and in the infantry, neither on core training as well. And so having done a reaction not that long ago to a 7-part series of the New Zealand Army basic training recruit course, I think it might have been 388, the recruit course that went through, and seeing how they incorporate some of their urban stuff and how they've got specific areas, facilities set up for that to include that in their training. Pretty awesome. Wasn't doing any of that really until I got onto cycle for the NZ SAS, and then over and again in the Australian, just trying to think if we did any in the Australian Defence Force. No, it's mostly green roll bush stuff. And again, it wasn't until I got onto cycle in Australia, and going through doing the CQB stuff and building urban environment type stuff was starting to become more and more prevalent, at least during my time anyway. So to see the UK, a part of the UK Defence Force combat roles doing this sort of thing way back when, is impressive. And no wonder they've likely captured a whole bunch of knowledge and information, things to improve on, and why they're held in such high regard, the UK military in general. So, and I know that a lot of what the New Zealand Defence Force does, I'm not sure about the Australian Defence Force, I'm guessing to a degree because they're allies, has been modelled off what the UK has done. But it's surprising that NZ didn't pick up, at least during my time, didn't pick up on incorporating much or any urban type environment training into the basic or core training, or even part of my time in a battalion, really, during my time. But obviously that sort of stuff was around. Obviously they've got Northern Ireland, so that's a large part, I would imagine, as to why that influenced their focus on incorporating that type of thing into their training. But like you said, the young officer talking about training and preparing for war, they don't know where or when that might take place, but being, I suppose, ahead of the game in regards to what the type of training that they're doing here and that they've clearly done for a long period of time and are very proficient at, I can't help but think, man, that would have been a great skill and thing for NZ and or maybe Australia to be incorporating into their training as well. Way back then, even though they may not have been deploying to those types of environments, forward thinking and looking at what potentially might happen or where they may potentially go. I know that stuff was happening, but yeah, I feel like I missed out. And it would have been cool to be exposed to this type of training early on in my military career.
Go. House clear!
I often wondered, you all wonder in Northern Ireland, will you come under fire and what will it be like when you do? You don't spend ponderous hours worrying about it, but sometimes, possibly just before you drop off to sleep or at a certain time when you're not involved in conversation, then you might think about it. It didn't frighten me. I thought, well, is this really happening? Now I found out what it's really like. And from then, you only have a second, and then you have to start taking action.
You enjoy it, though. You look forward to a bit of excitement when you're over there.
You build up that much tension when you're over there. If it does happen, you get a chance to let it out.
So at times you're almost willing for something to happen. You want something to go on. You want some excitement. You want something to happen.
Yeah, it gets boring most of it. We have to make our own laughs over there because nothing happens hardly. In the way, it's your job really, isn't it? To shoot people. I mean, it's one reason to join the army, really, isn't it?
Well, it is. What do you think about that?
But if they're going to shoot at me, I'm going to shoot back anyway. I'm going to stand there and let them shoot at me,
You've got him in the leg there, a bit low there. Okay, keep holding the weapon. Watch the one coming out the door. He'll fire at you.
Wow, they got, looks like first time I came across, I don't think it looked as well done as that, but they had, I forget what it stands for as well. I think it was called the WETS system in Australia. And it's where you could do your AWQ type stuff indoors, basically, and shooting at a big screen. And that was sort of, I don't know if that's digital. That looks like film running. But you're doing your shoots and all that sort of stuff, or you could do them indoors. You had the option. You could still go out on the ranges, but then there was some part of the training from time to time we'd go into, I think it was called the WETS. I can't remember what it stands for. Training simulation, weapon something training simulation might have been what it stood for from memory. I can't remember. But it was cool anyway. I thought it was good. I thought it was good as an option with regards to trying to, whether it was to apply marksmanship principles better, whether it was being exposed to a different type of environment and being aware of a different type of scenario or situation that you could potentially be exposed to, because I think they could set up different scenarios on it and then it would project out onto the screen, and then you're shooting your rounds and it would tell you if you hit or not, from memory anyway. But looking at this, I'm like, holy heck, how long has this sort of thing been around for? Like, when this would have been in early 2000s for me, early 2000s by the time I got to Australia, because we never had a WETS system in NZ before I left. So seeing it in Australia, I was like, wow, I was like, they're way ahead of the technology space and capabilities to be able to incorporate something like this to help develop soldiers. Hello, Nick. Here we are looking at this. What's this? Must be in the 70s. And they've already got what appears to be something similar. Maybe this is where it originated from. But man, pretty awesome to see this.
No, you just went slightly left there. Keep watching that. You've got him in the leg there. Lots of trees behind. They're lurking there somewhere.
Sharpshooting practice under Corporal Bob Wright. In the months preceding the battalion's departure for Cyprus, there's a special build-up in training. In this ingeniously equipped range, the rifleman shoots at projected targets with live ammunition. As he fires, the picture on the screen freezes and dims for 5 seconds. A small hole appears on the paper screen where the bullet strikes, and Corporal Wright can judge the accuracy of the shot.
Okay, unload.
It's a very different setup. Like, there was no paper screens or anything like that, but just blows my mind to see that sort of capability and technology. I also like what the guys were talking about earlier before it went into that scene around soldiers. You know, if they're shooting at me, I'm going to shoot at them. Yeah, rightly so too. I mean, the piece where I think one of the soldiers was talking about you want something to happen. I think that's probably fair and accurate across all generations of combat roles anyway. Like, you join the army understanding that you could be deployed, understanding that you could end up in contact, but not sure if it will ever happen, and wondering how you might respond. You're not giving it a heck of a lot of thought. Well, I don't feel like I did anyway. I knew that it was a question that was there in the back of my mind. How would I respond? And I'm sure it is and was for anybody that's served in a combat role. But I also think, at least my take anyway, for me personally, I had without knowing and without actually knowing until you're in that environment, all I can say is that I know that I had a real strong conviction personally that, yeah, I didn't feel like I would freeze. Who knows? Different contexts will likely generate different physiological response, physical and chemical and all that sort of stuff within the individual, I'm sure. But I think that helped me to have that conviction that I wouldn't freeze, that I would fight for my mates, for myself, or for the mission or the objective of what we were trying to do. So I like to think most guys in a combat role probably have that same sort of mentality. And I think anybody that doesn't, this is just my take, I think people would struggle without that sort of conviction or self-belief in terms of what they're willing to do for their mates, for themselves, for those whom it might be their duty to protect, and or for the mission in terms of what you're there to try to achieve. So anyway, that's my take.
After shooting, Rifleman Jim Fox and Terry Irvin follow the Green Jackets' ritual and give their rifles the most scrupulous cleaning. Following the same tradition, Corporal Wright will still find fault. In the Green Jackets, there's always been a special emphasis on marksmanship and a special relationship between the man and his rifle. One day, his life may depend on it. And with
I'll leave that one there, just seeing it's a little over 30 minutes now. But yeah, really enjoying this reaction. The volume, I'm not sure. I've got the volume right up on mine, so I might have to adjust the volume when I look to export this, etc., and upload it. So I'll try and put the volume up a little bit in CapCut, and the software that I use to edit before uploading. But yeah, some stuff in there. The officers' mess, the senior NCOs, the Riflemen's Club, some funny stuff in that and there. The comments in and around. There's not a lot to do. I didn't find that in my time in infantry, at least in NZ and not in Australia. There was always stuff to do, and in my opinion, the good section commanders, the good platoon commanders, they always made sure that you were busy doing things that were relevant to your core, to your trade, to your job. And yeah, soldiering and doing PT and assault courses or obstacle courses is a part of that, learning new skills, use of communications, use of medical skills, helicopter rappelling, like whatever the opportunities were, use of heavy weapons and different weapons. There was always, I think anyway, there was always stuff to do. So it's cool to see this. Definitely at the end of a day and the cleaning of weapons. I found in battalion there wasn't always this finding fault in the weapons. Like, the weapons are usually, by that stage, through basic training and core training, you've hopefully learnt enough and understand enough that you need to keep that weapon clean. And it's not that I think NCOs were more relaxed once you got there. I do think that the standard raised and stayed high because by then the reality set in terms of the importance of maintaining your weapon, so that it can look after yourself, your mates, and help you achieve the task that you're out there to do. So anyway, enjoying this. I'll probably get through this in hopefully one more bite. How much time is left? Yeah, there's about 15 minutes left on here to get through this 50-minute segment. But shout out again to RGJ5, I think it is, who sent through the request. Apologies, it's taken me so long in between reactions before I've done part 2. I will try and get part 3 done and not so big a gap in between. But appreciate everybody's time, anybody's time that spent any time, made a comment here on my little channel. Very much appreciated, so thank you for that. And with that being said, as always, man, the message is the same. It might sound repetitive. I hope it doesn't sound insincere, because that's not the case at all. But the message is the same. We've all got challenges and difficulties and hard times going on in our lives. Some may have more than others. And as we get into this time of year, closer towards Christmas, some people can be finding themselves in some real dark places and some real difficult times and facing some challenging circumstances. So all I can really say and encourage people to do is just to keep turning up, keep staying in the fight, and take one day at a time, keep putting one foot in front of the other, and just know and trust that the sun will shine again, that there are better days ahead, and that if you want those better days to come, if you want things to get better and you're willing to be patient and persistent and somewhat stubborn to a degree and fight for those things, for those better days to come, then my experience has been is that they always come around. It may take a while. It may not be easy. They may not, and they usually never come when you want them to. But if you can just stay in that sucky, miserable place and keep persisting and keep turning up each day, my experience has been is that there is a light at the end of that tunnel and things do get better. Speak to somebody if you need to. Ask for help if you have to. But stay in the fight. Don't quit. So as always, go always a little further. Remember, who dares wins and who cares wins. And until the next video, there's a big mana wave coming from me to you, filled with my aroha, respect, appreciation and gratitude for you all.